What's going on, y'all? It's Monica Jones here. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. As I go through some of these episodes, I want to make sure that you guys have like a pretty firm understanding of who I am. If you're new to my channel or if you haven't followed me for a while on Instagram, I want to just talk about some of the things that make me me, how I ended up here. And so I sat down with my friend Dex, who's behind the camera right now. Hey, Dex. And just answer some of these questions. So please make sure that you subscribe down below. Make sure that you guys give it a thumbs up. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments on some of these topics, or you can interact with me at Train with Mon on all platforms or at monica-jones.com. So let's get into it. So I get asked a lot about how I ended up working with brands like Under Armour, like Whole Foods, like Neutrogena, and it's just because of who I am and who I've decided to be outwardly to the world. It can be very scary to share so much about yourself or to put yourself out there, but that is honestly the reward. You find brands and people that align, and I should say people first, people that align. The fact that there's a community behind me and around me and beside me that believes in the same things that I believe in about embracing diversity, embracing adversity, sharing hardships, sharing lessons, and not holding back when you believe in something is what got me where I am. The toughest lesson that I have learned with a hardship or a less than savory outcome of collaborating with a brand is that you must understand your worth before you move into those conversations, because some people's job is to test your idea and understanding of your worth, whether it is to save money for that brand or to remain the authority in the process of negotiation. But it's really, really important to know yourself, to know your worth, and to also have people around you that remind you of it as well. 3 important lessons that I've learned about working with brands in my time of doing this. So the first lesson is that you are valuable with or without that brand. You hold value from being yourself. Everything that you've gone through, your story, your service, it is valuable even without that validation. These partnerships are a bonus. They're not the definition of your success. The second thing is to define your success and understand and be in tune with it consistently. Understanding what you think is success is so important because for me, as an example, I made the most amount of money that I've ever made last year. I broke that 6-figure mark as an independent contractor and as an entrepreneur, and that was the most miserable year of my life. It was not what I would define as success. It was the fact that I had done those things and picked my head up and still found that I was kind of miserable in a lot of moments that led me to understand, oh, okay, I define success as actually being able to spend time with my family, being able to travel, being happy in the moment and appreciating who I am and appreciating the people I'm with, and just generally being able to be present, to have the means to be present is success for me. And of course, making an impact. And then number 3 is to stay rooted in your purpose. Stay rooted in your purpose because some moments will be big, like, you know, article features and being able to do certain events. But if you're not rooted in your purpose, those things can kind of start to sway you from the integrity of what you do. They can sway you from just being able to speak to the same people the same way, to keep their trust, to keep growing in a way in which you had originally wanted to. So stay rooted in your purpose, because any moment, big or small, will feel so fulfilling for you if you do that. If you don't, those moments can feel like any other, and then it's kind of just chasing nothing, to be honest. The feedback that I get from friends, family, loved ones, social media acquaintances, when they see me in different media outlets and on different ads, is always so, it's always just, I can barely describe it. Like, it's really sweet, and it keeps me humble and hardworking. It reminds me that something that I might think, like going from one huge campaign to a smaller campaign, being from one big media outlet to a smaller one, like, it's still a huge deal. And I can't forget that, and I can't downplay my success. And it also makes me feel really good to see myself as representation for Black and brown women, especially because when I was just getting into this, there was very little of that. And when there was, those women were, I mean, and we still aren't, but not getting paid what they deserve to get paid. And our likenesses were being used in so many places, but not actually valued. So it's really dope to be a part of the movement and to be able to use my voice and to use my likeness and what I represent and my experience to uplift people just based on sight and sound, and to still have a positive message and story attached to it. It's the best feeling ever. In order to protect your image and protect what it is that your image is representing, you have to continue to tell your own story. If someone put me in an ad or put me in some sort of marketing that didn't reflect something I believe in, the people who ride for me and know who I am would never believe it. They wouldn't just jump into thinking, oh, that's what we're doing these days. So it's really important to keep telling your story. No one can change your story but you, unless you let them. So that's what I'm saying about trying to pair yourself with certain brands and trying to make a connection to them. It's really important to know who you are, and it's really important to know that your experience and your messaging and your story is valuable on its own, number one. But number two, it's important to tell that story and to share it, because if you just attach yourself to something else, then you're automatically defined by the values of what you've attached yourself to, or by the actions of what you've attached yourself to. So stay proactive, share who you are, to the extent that you feel good doing it, but don't allow yourself to just be attached to something else. And for me, an experience that I had was, just in the past couple years, being attached to a brand that really outwardly wanted to show that they believed in diversity and that they wanted to empower diversity, and that they wanted to keep a safe space. But I personally didn't feel like I was in a safe space in the position that I was in. And part of that was because I felt I needed to speak up about certain issues that I was having internally. And so in order to ensure that that was no longer an issue, I stopped being a part of the marketing, and I also spoke up about it to leadership. And the result was I no longer had to be attached to those things. And I got to move on to use my voice in ways in which I appreciated, and ways in which I wanted to continue to advocate and empower for people of color. And that is, it's one of the toughest lessons that I've had to learn. It was exhausting and it was very lonely, but if I didn't learn that lesson, then I wouldn't go on to find other people who have gone through it, or to try to change the way that we do things and how we allow ourselves to be used in media. To be authentic is to, honor yourself. Honor yourself and who you are, love and appreciate who you are. And there is a lot of behind the scenes work that goes into that, whether it's journaling so that you have a firm understanding of who you are that day and that time, or how far you've come, or maybe you're changing or showing better support to the surroundings and the people that make you feel most like yourself. If you don't feel like yourself, or you don't feel like you're welcome in a place that you're usually in, it's okay to leave that place. I definitely encourage changing your environment to best suit who you are, because then you can give your best value to it. Otherwise, you're not really gonna be valued there. You're not gonna feel welcome. And then the third thing is to, think bigger. Don't just think about how you're gonna be portrayed in the moment. Think about what the overall message is and what the overall mission is. So if the mission is to empower people and to encourage, like for me, if my mission is to encourage young women to put themselves out there, go for what they want, advocate for themselves, then me hiding is not necessarily going to help that, but me hiding pieces of myself is also not going to help that. So I share the good to encourage, I share the bad to keep it real, and I share the in-between to let people know that it's not all celebration and it's not all horrible, and some days are just kind of boring and in between and kind of quiet, but that's just my life, and we kind of opted into sharing it. So those are ways that you can be authentic. It doesn't have to be anything crazy or grand, and it doesn't always mean putting yourself out there constantly. I always stumble on the ideal workday concept because I want to work, but it would kind of be more fun to not. So yeah, my ideal work day is doing things that I enjoy. So number one, being able to wake up at a reasonably early time. Like, I appreciate getting up early. I don't appreciate being up at the crack of dawn if I don't have to though. So I like to have a fairly early start, and I like to be able to get into movement. I love boxing. I also love doing like Olympic lifts, and I like doing group fitness because there's a little bit of competitive nature in me. So doing one of those workouts, being able to get some sort of beverage. If it is hot outside, I want something that's cold. If it's cold outside, I want something that's warm. And then just being able to sit and journal and just have a plan for the day. I like to be able to create content that's interactive with other people, not just videos of me doing things by myself. And then I like to be able to share and to interact when I share that content. So if I have to post something and don't get to actually speak to people afterwards, that's not my jam. It doesn't feel very connected. And then I like to do shoots. I love to shoot content, whether it's with Under Armour or when we're doing podcasting, but being able to be a part of a greater production and something that is going to get lots of eyes and ears on it that can make an impact is what I enjoy doing the most. And just connected conversation. If I can get some good food in me over conversation, if I can get out, take a walk, get into nature, and I'm a simple girl. Maybe like a little cocktail at the end of the day, going out to some sort of networking event if I'm feeling social. If not, the couch is equally as fantastic. But yeah, simple. It's my ideal day. So my three favorite things about what it is that I do are, number one, that it is, this is a gift and a curse, but it's the path that not many have traveled. I could look at any influencer, celebrity, athlete, anyone like that, and I can't truly compare my journey to theirs because I got started just from dropping out of college. I got started in a way that just everything felt like a hardship turned into a complete win, and it just continued to lead me to more and more growth. So I think it's dope to be able to have created this career path from just manifestation, honestly. My second favorite thing is impact. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to one person or if I'm talking to thousands of people. The stories and the things that they share with me about what I have shared is so fulfilling. It's more valuable to me than any dollar amount. And that is how I keep going also, because the motivation isn't always there, but the purpose is. So that feels good. And knowing that purpose feels good because it doesn't always have the same modalities. It's not always content. It's not always coaching women one-on-one. It's not always group fitness. It lives in so many different realms. And then number three, my third favorite thing about what I do is the fact that I get to do it pretty much on my own terms. You know, I think that a lot of people are in this rush to be, or feeling pressured to be a CEO or an entrepreneur or all those things. And the more that I try to define myself in that way, the less in control and valuable I felt. But when I look at it as, oh, I'm just providing, you know, my best service, I'm trying to make my greatest impact, I'm trying to step forward as my highest self, those other things just happen automatically. So being able to do things on my own terms is a huge blessing in this country, in this day and age, as a woman of color, as someone who doesn't have a college degree. There's so many odds that I've beat, and I live life with a lot of joy and on my own terms. And, you know, it's definitely a huge blessing to be able to do that. My biggest piece of advice for young women out there who are looking to level up in their lives and their careers is to do it scared and be afraid to make mistakes, but go forth anyways. Do it scared, make mistakes, because I have struggled with perfectionism for many years. I've also struggled with anxiety and with depression, and those things have more of a hold on us when we don't take action. So take action and learn the lesson from it, and don't ever be afraid to ask for help. But yeah, you gotta go forth and live your life. You can't just sit in the fear of what would happen. Think about more so what could go right rather than what could go wrong, and some of your wildest dreams will come true. Hope I didn't bore you too much with that, but I'm really excited to talk about some of these topics. So again, guys, don't forget, subscribe. Make sure that you guys drop your thoughts in the comments. Give this a share if it is on your heart to do so. I'm really looking forward to connecting and talking more about these topics. So I'll catch you guys later.